The American Dream. Take two. Last week, in this fine newspaper I've been reading since I was 12, the Wall Street Journal, there's a great article about Harvard's Business School is changing their curriculum. Now, this is what's really funny about this. They're actually saying we're going to have more courses and gear the course toward entrepreneurship, which means it really wasn't on the course that it just wasn't there. It wasn't there. Most Harvard B School grads go into a few fields: finance, finance, finance. It's all about the money. And this is the thing that got me. There's a heavy, heavy emphasis on ethics. Understand, when I make these statements based on my own opinion about how the game is rigged, it comes from actually participating in the system. See, you can't say, oh, the system's wrong, if you don't really participate in it, or if you don't participate, you have to study it closely. And this is the thing that got me. Mr. Nitin Noraya, probably screwing up his name, he's the dean of the business school. He made the comment of, due to the dire consequences of the Great Recession, they took the heat and said many of our graduates were right in the thick of this thing. And it troubled them that a lot of the bad things that were going on in the world, many of their esteemed members participated, initiated, and madly profited from unethical and criminal behavior. So, this was really cool that they were like, you know what, enough's enough. Because, I was really stupid. I thought, MBA master, business school was toward, I was a kid, starting a business. No, it was to prepare you to work in someone else's business. That was the gist of it. There's a lot of great schools out there. I mean, University of Chicago's business school is the bomb. But, it just made me think, because this goes back to the American dream. It's really with owning a business, because I was halfway convinced before this thing started, the Great Recession. And I am even more thoroughly convinced because there's a lot of things that are happening, real bad things that are happening, and people are still screwed. Number one, corporations are sitting on the largest pile of cash they've ever had. How did they get to this point? Streamlining their processes, pulling out all the fat, making their businesses extremely efficient. That's a great thing. Now, the other side is there was room to hire people, and they were like, well, we're not going to do it because we're making so much money from the way things are now. What's the point? There is no point. Understand, there's a certain group of jobs that are never going to come back. Totally gone. And I would say if you have a good job and you have a good career track, and this is not something I'm saying just you should do because you should buy my book. No, this is more about your family and your future. If you have a great job and you have a spouse or it's just you, I strongly encourage you to start some business endeavor on the side, because God forbid, who knows what's going to happen. We live in a culture where this has happened to me. #1 salesman in the group, doing a great job. Hatchet came down, poosh. They were going to rearrange it for some other reason. It did not work out. I'm not going to say the company because I seriously consider suing, but I was like, you know what? Fuck it. You don't want me? Fine. I'm going to move on and do my own thing. One of the best decisions I ever made. But you could be doing all the right things. Showing up on time, not abusing the company time, being a damn good, productive employee, and still. That's the truth. And I don't see it getting any better because we're moving toward an information-based economy. An information-based economy worldwide. When I say economy, I'm talking about the world. I'm not talking about international. The economy is the world. I sell books and stuff, and I have people in Russia and stuff buying my ebooks. Why, I don't know. But thank you. Guy in Italy. It's weird. And, you know, a guy in Ireland, he watches the channel and he's like, hey, you know, there's no storage auctions held, but, you know, I can't do the Irish brogue anymore. I used to be real good at that. I need to listen to somebody. But, you know, people are watching this stuff and it's like, you know, there's no storage auctions over here, but I just bought the book because I was curious. Global. That is it. And, you know, this is for you. You know, if you want to do something, you know, forget about storage auctions, forget about me, and just think about yourself. You need to do something. You need to make preparations because it's not getting any better. You know, you know, and we kind of dickered before on this with the economy, and I will say it's probably higher than 20% because, well, I'm sorry, the level of unemployment. Because some people have given up, and there's a lot of groups of folks in there. There are people who went on the mommy track, decide to have a family, pull themselves out of the employment force, but at some point they're coming back or going to try to. Older folks, it's like being 50-something with a ton of experience is like a curse now. So there's a bunch of folks like that if they didn't make the certain progression up the corporate ladder, they're screwed. Then recent college graduates. This has probably been the worst job market the last 3 years in any time in history. And it's weird. Now, there's certain fields that are just booming. You know, if you've got an engineering degree in the right discipline. You know, it just can't be an engineering degree. Electrical engineering, mechanical engineering, computer. It has to be the right degree. Also, you need to have an internship so you have some experience to slap on your resume because right now it's an employer's oyster. They're just pick, choose, and refuse. Oh, this guy's got 6 more months of experience than this guy. Okay, he's out. I mean, sometimes it's not even that. It's a month or where you got the experience. So you're better off, and you know, I'm talking to you, if you're a college student, you are better off going ahead, getting your degree, and putting on your resume, well, the whole time I was in college, I ran this business and I made 30 to 50 grand a year. They're really, whoa, this guy's a hustler. I'm telling you, it's going to be more impressive to an interviewer than, well, yes, I organized the Glee Club. I'm not saying that's not important, but unless you're going into some type of musical career endeavor, to a guy across the table from you who's thinking of hiring you to run his business, it's like, that's going to be a no. But I'm going to sit here and I'm going to nod and be polite because they did wear a suit to the interview. Okay, I've done that stuff. I've done that. I mean, I've interviewed folks and it's like, it's not going to happen. We'll tell you, often an interviewer will size your ass up in the first 5 minutes. You know, an interview may go on for 20 minutes, 30, but typically those first 5 minutes usually seal a deal. You know, if you're in, as long as you don't say anything to screw it up, you're in. Just letting you know. Also, this whole thing with what happened. There's a reason that 3% of the world has 80% of the wealth. And they're not trying to share. Nor should they. Wealth is something that you need to earn. Stop thinking about, you know, they should put the money down here. No, it does not work that way. It's never worked that way in history, and it's not going to work. I got a recent comment in one forum. I thought I would do it in the video. And it's like, what are my views on Obama and his policies? My views are the same as they were on Bush and his policy, Clinton and his policy, George Bush the first in his policies, Reagan and his policies. I was actually in high school when Reagan was getting elected, and our social studies teachers thought it was a great idea to show us the American political process in action. Learned a lot. This is the thing, and I don't know if you figured it out. The president is pretty much a puppet. Yeah, I said it. It's a puppet. There's a certain level of authority and power, but it's business as usual. One hand washes the other. Shit has not changed in Washington at all. This thing with the Tea Party and we're going to vote you out if you don't. I don't think folks really get it. You have more power by, one, saving your money, staying out of debt, and doing the things you want to than trying to influence your political process. You have a lot more power on the local level. You can do way much more on the local level. But when you get to the national level, you know, sure, you can vote people in and out of office. You could cause a cause. But really, I want you to think. these new congressmen and Republicans, I want you to think from this day, which is February the 8th, in 2 years from now, I want you to really think, has your life really been impacted in a positive manner? More than likely, it will not be, because this whole thing is, the economy is not the fault of the president. The economy is the fault of poor government oversight across the board. That's Democrat, that's Republican. Some of the shit that goes on, I'm still pissed at 1994 Newt Gingrich contract with America, where they weakened the Fourth Amendment. And a lot of people were like, what? Why is the police knocking down my door? It used to be you had some recourse. If improper search and seizure, you had a lot of recourse. A great lawsuit. Now, oh, we're sorry. Are you okay? Was that cavity search? I mean, I know I have big fingers, but, you know, you didn't do anything. You good. Be a man and just go about your business. You know, people don't even think about that. So, as for Obama, the Republicans, my thoughts are, this is a stage. It's a play, and we're all characters. And just some folks don't know their roles. That's the truth. Because, really, I don't think there's anything that Obama can do that's going to really impact my fiscal life. I didn't think it was going to happen when I voted for the guy. Sure did. I didn't think all of a sudden I was going to get Obama money and all this other stuff. It was just I was tired of the other guy. Sometimes when you're in the voting booth, it's not like, whoa, yes, this is my guy. It's like, which is the lesser of two evils? I don't know how many freaking times I felt that way. It's like, I ain't really sold on this one, but this one's worse. That's been my voting experience like the last freaking decade. I'm serious. That's been it. And I came to this realization during this recession, which could have been avoided if proper government oversight was put in place and did not allow these fucked up mortgages to go into effect. All this shit could have been avoided. Simple. But there's this one word that it just defies all color, ethnic background, religious makeup. It's called greed. You have people who are not making good money. You have people who are making incredible money. Incredible money, 10, 15, 20, 30 million a month. You have corporates, national corporations that don't make that much money per month in their businesses. And you've got a select few guys on Wall Street in certain investment groups. They're making money like crazy. Now, this is not to be confused with a company that invests in a small company. The company becomes big, then it does an IPO, and then everybody makes money. No, they deserve that money because they took risk. I'm talking about the coupon rate. I'm talking about when the stock market closed and there's trading that's going on that you can't take part of, but the major institutions can. I'm talking about, that 0.5 percentage point, but spread across billions of dollars in 24 hours adds up to a lot of freaking money that you or neither, we can't take any advantage of that. But there are many people who do make a lot of money and pretty much say, fuck us. So this is, something for you. Develop a plan of action to take care of yourself. The biggest thing you can do for yourself is to stay out of debt. This is one of the most powerful things you can do for you and your family. I'm not buying this thing that, I've got to have this car. I've got to have, no, you don't. It's a choice. You're better off living a lifestyle that's well within your financial means. And I'm not saying live cheaply. I'm not saying dress in old clothes. I'm saying spend within your budget and no more. You'll be amazed at how much power you will give yourself if you do that. And I'm telling you, but that's just my opinion. Just my opinion. But, go back to this. Just think about this, that Harvard, one of the oldest institutions in the school, Harvard, one of the oldest institutions in the country, has decided to increase, alter, change their curriculum to something I think it should have been to begin with. Business school should be about starting business. How do you start a business? And maybe some of this bullshit wouldn't have happened. But, that's it. So, I want you to think about that. Do whatever you need to do. You about to get married, have this conversation with the wife. It's like, look, we're going to save the money. We don't need to have this crazy wedding. We don't need to spend 150, 200, 300,000. And people go, you can't tell people to do with their money. That's their. No, I'm going to say this. If you, Mr. and the potential Mrs. are both making $50,000 a year and you spend $150,000 on your wedding, you're fucking stupid. You are. Because that same money would buy you a house and you would be way off. Because that's what you're going to do anyway. You need that house more than you need that wedding. I like what they do in Europe. Oh, town square, by the fountain, bam. 30, 40 people, we get married, they look happy, the guys playing the violin, it's so romantic, I even cried.